everyone, this is Cressel Snapdragon, and in this video I review Project Gorgon, which is a sandbox MMORPG created by Heimberg and Sandra, but started as just a Kickstarter that earned $74,781 in pledges, was released in March this year to the public, and has since built an amazing community and thus an amazing gameplay experience. So, let's get this review started, beginning with my favorite part of any game, the character creation. So, at first glance, the character creation interface is somewhat limiting. You have access to 3 races, the humans, elves, and the Rakshasa, and an even more limited amount of hairstyles, skin tones, and some facial presets. But whether you feel limited with character creation or not, the racial descriptions alone make you forget the fact that there aren't many presets. I have to say, the racial descriptions and just the dialogue in general in this game is absolutely hilarious and fantastic, and it'll put a smile on your face every time you read it. Let's just read some of the racial descriptions. So for humans, humans are notoriously prudish and petty, but they are extremely loyal to their friends and their allies, and they value honesty and hard work and hate lazy people. So true. Now we can also see what the other races say about our humans. Elves say they're rude and greedy, and for how much they hate sex, you'd be surprised how horny they are. But they make great friends and they love accumulating wealth. Let's read about the elves. Elves are forest-loving, sex-addicted, and obsessively clean. They're never crude or offensive, but they do tend to add double entendres to everything they say. They live a long time and tend to master a lot of skills, but prefer to live a simple life when possible. Let's read what the humans say. Humans say about elves that they're friendly and honest, but don't be fooled. All elves are disgusting perverts. They're probably charm rapists. Rakshasa originally came from another world where they were fierce and amoral warriors, but since becoming stranded on this world, new generations of Rakshasa have developed a sense of morals and righteousness, but they're still learning to combine their warrior instincts with this newfound sense of fairness. So these are our 3 races. Do bear in mind, however, that the developers are planning on adding 3 more races to choose from, those being the Fae, Orcs, and Dwarves, and you can find the character art online if you're interested in seeing what the developers have in mind for the future classes, or races of this game. So, once you create your character, you get thrust into a dark world on a lonely island called Anagog Island. And if you didn't notice in the character creation, you'll notice upon entering the world that the graphics aren't necessarily on par with games like Elder Scrolls Online or Final Fantasy, which have some of the best graphics, in my opinion, of any MMO. However, while the graphics aren't amazing, they aren't technically meant to be, and it gives the game a certain character. Plus, while it might look like an old MMO, it runs significantly better than older MMOs. I rarely have FPS issues until I get into Cerberly Keep, which is just overpopulated in general due to the increasing community. But there are things, of course, that you can do to ameliorate any FPS issue. For instance, you can go into the settings and adjust your GPU settings, such as your graphics or like animation distance, for instance. However, you can change your graphics to ultra settings, which makes the game look absolutely gorgeous, but I just want to note that having the lower graphics makes the game very easy on your system, and so the gameplay runs very smoothly. So, you're conked out and dropped on an island with no memory. What are you going to do? Well, one thing that I and others find particularly enduring about the game is that you're kind of on your own. The tutorial is short and there are no quest markers. Basically, the game forces you to get out and explore the world rather than running from quest hub to quest hub. Furthermore, the quests don't necessarily give you hints on how to complete them, forcing you to pay extra close attention to what the NPCs are telling you. This also brings me to your handy dandy notepad, where you're going to want to write the tips down to make questing more efficient. On the note of NPCs, the dialogue, once again, is absolutely hilarious, and it makes one really just enjoy the NPCs and the gameplay in general. Usually I find reading dialogue a chore, which is why I prefer games like ESO, where the dialogue is just read to me. But in Project Gorgon, the dialogue is so enjoyable to read, and it's in big font, you know, and some of those older MMOs, such as Raples, have dialogue in such small fonts that I can barely read the dialogue even with my glasses. So this game makes you pay extra close attention to what the NPCs are saying. Couple that with various lore that you find in the world, it makes learning the story rather enjoyable and less like a chore. Okay, so combat is a bit weird, but it's simple, and I like simple. Simple combat also leads to a more enjoyable community because, for instance, games such as Black Desert Online and Elder Scrolls Online, where people who are more coordinated or just naturally going to do better aren't going to make for a toxic environment in this game. In Project Gorgon, everyone is pretty much on an even playing field. What differs between people is of course strategy, as always, and this game offers so much flexibility in how you play. You can use swords, bows, staves as your primary or secondary combat strategies, and you can even use mental strategies such as psychology to psych your foe out. There's just absolutely so much to choose from that it is almost overwhelming in a positive way. I mean, you can even tame rats. Who doesn't want to tame a rat? Am I right? So last but not least, there is the economy, which is pretty much a player-based economy. You have some NPC shops, but players can learn retail management, and then they can open up their own shops within the city walls, like that of Cerbuli Keep. And generally the prices are fairly manageable, and there are a ton of shops, and you can find, of course, a ton of things. And so once you get off the beginning island and onto the mainland of Cerbuli, you can sell the multitudes of your wares to the NPC vendors, or you can attempt to get training in retail management and open up your own shop. It's also good to point out at this point that you're going to want to gain favor with the NPCs by doing their quests, as well as giving them gifts, because there are certain things that you can buy from the NPC vendors once you've gained a certain amount of favor. They can also train you in certain strategies or techniques once you've gained a certain amount of favor. So you want to make sure that you build up a reputation with the NPCs in town. Also, which is a great aspect of gameplay because it makes getting to know your NPCs and the characters of the story less obsolete, because you're forced to interact with them on a regular basis to gain that favor and be able to get training from those NPCs and buy better weapons, for instance. So overall, I absolutely love this game. It is a fantastic game, and amazingly, I have to give props to the developers, because there were only 2 developers and they made this game, and it's amazing. It has an amazing community. And so if you're thinking about getting into this game, I think you should totally do it. I totally recommend it. It is so much fun. The dialogue is hilarious. It plays wonderfully. And I also want to just throw out, I haven't gotten too far to really show this one yet, but you can dye your outfits. So there is a bunch of style with regards to this game if you're one of those that really wants, you know, to be able to look unique, have a unique character next to all the other players in the game. But I do hope that you give this game a chance. It is a fantastic game, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching!